School trustee elections will be held in Manitoba on October 24th, 2018, at the same time as most municipal elections. Do you want to learn more about what school trustees and school boards actually do? Are you looking for information that will help you make an informed decision on election day? Are you thinking of running for office yourself? Then you've come to the right place. This short video will provide an overview of the role of the school board in Manitoba's public school system. If you are thinking of running for office, it may help you determine whether the reasons you want to serve align with the realities of school board service. It will provide you with technical information about nominations and elections, information you need to actually run for school trustee. Finally, it will connect you with resources for further information or for answers to questions you may have. In Canada, public education is a provincial responsibility. In Manitoba, as in most other provinces, the province has delegated that responsibility to locally elected school boards. Provincial legislation, primarily the Public Schools Act, provides a framework for school board operations. It details what all school boards must do, what they may do, and in some instances, how they must operate. The Public Schools Act and the Municipal Councils and School Boards Elections Act govern school trustee elections, including candidate eligibility and nomination and election procedures. Under the Public Schools Act, school boards are responsible for the provision of K-12 public education in their communities. That responsibility comes with multiple accountabilities. School boards' authority is delegated to them by the province, so they are accountable to the province for how that authority is exercised. School boards are comprised of elected officials who are accountable to voters. As stewards of public dollars, school boards are accountable to taxpayers. As employers, school boards are accountable to staff. And most importantly, school boards are accountable to the children whose care and education has been entrusted to them and to their families and communities. The key work of school boards falls into three areas. They are leaders in the school division, responsible for articulating the community's vision and values when it comes to public education. The school board develops policies and undertakes planning to help move the division towards that vision, and advocates for the resources and supports needed to move from vision to reality. School boards are the stewards of the division, with ultimate responsibility for its finances. They set the budget, they monitor and evaluate spending, and they report on financial matters to the community. And school boards build relationships within the division. Through their words and actions, school trustees impact organizational culture. They engage with all segments of their community, both to build public understanding and to deepen their own. School boards work continually to build partnerships and other types of collaboration, because education is everyone's responsibility. But whatever the specific task at hand, whether it relates to leadership, stewardship, or relationship, the focus of a school board remains constant: student learning and achievement. If it doesn't matter to kids and their learning, it's probably not the rightful work of a school board. School boards are grassroots, democratic bodies. School trustees are members of the community they serve, chosen by their fellow citizens to reflect community priorities in their governance of public education. The collective body, the school board, holds all legal authority and power within the school division. The board exercises that authority through the decisions it makes at properly constituted school board meetings. Trustees have a voice and a vote at those meetings, but they have no authority to act alone on behalf of the board, unless the board has delegated a specific responsibility to them. People have different reasons for serving on their school board. Some people's direct motivation is children in the classroom. School board decisions impact children's education and lives and help shape children's futures. Others serve because they know that strong schools contribute to the economic and social strength of communities, and they want to play a role in building that strength. And some trustees serve because decisions about schools and education affect everyone, and they believe that local communities need to have a voice in those decisions. If you are thinking of running for school trustee, the first question to ask yourself is why? The question is an important one. If your reasons for wanting to be a trustee don't align with the realities of school board service, the responsibilities, the accountabilities, and the authority of school boards, your tenure could prove to be frustrating, not only for yourself, but also for any board colleagues. Beyond the fundamental question of why, here are a few other considerations. Can I commit the time necessary to be an effective school board member? The time commitment varies from division to division and by time of the year, but it is significant. It's much more than 1 or 2 meetings a month. It is also preparation for those meetings, preparation for and attendance at committee meetings, community consultations, school events, and more. To get a true sense of what school board service looks like in your division, talk to a current trustee. Am I willing to listen, learn, and communicate at the board table? Will I respect the authority of the board, its processes, and policies? If, despite my best efforts, a vote runs contrary to my position, can I accept that? Finally, can I work as an effective team member with other trustees and senior administrators, contributing where I can and respecting both the contributions and the authority of others on the team? The basic eligibility requirements to run for school trustee are straightforward. Candidates must be Canadian citizens who will be 18 years of age or older as of election day, and who will have lived within the boundaries of the school division or district for at least 6 months as of election day. This final point is especially noteworthy for 2 reasons. First, it differs from the eligibility requirements in municipal elections where non-resident property owners can run for office. This is not the case in school board elections. All candidates must be actual residents of the division or district. Second, anyone elected as school trustee must remain a resident of the school division or district while in office. If they move beyond the division or district boundaries, their seat will be declared vacant and a by-election will be called. There are some instances where people who meet the basic eligibility requirements are still disqualified from serving on a school board. These fall into 2 groups: elected or appointed officials at other levels of government, federal, provincial, or municipal, and pupils in regular attendance at a school within the jurisdiction in which they would be serving. Employees of a school division or district can run for school trustee in the same division or district where they work, but if they are elected, they will be required to take an unpaid leave of absence from their job. There are also some circumstances, beyond death or resignation, where a trustee seat will be declared vacant, and these are worth considering before you commit to run. As already mentioned, a trustee needs to continue to live in the division or district where they serve, so if you are seriously thinking about moving in the next short while, you may want to rethink running for office. Unless it happens in the final year of a trustee's term of office, a vacancy on the board will trigger a by-election, which comes at a cost to the division and community. A trustee also has to attend meetings regularly. 3 consecutive absences, unless authorized by a board motion, will result in a trustee seat being declared vacant. Finally, there are a few specific legal situations that can lead to a trustee being disqualified from holding office for a period of 4 years. These are a violation of any provision of the Public Schools Act, conviction of an offence punishable by a sentence of 5 years or longer, or conviction of an offence under sections of the Criminal Code such as breach of trust by a public official or selling or purchasing office. Some of the most common questions about school board service relate to conflicts of interest and codes of conduct. Conflict of interest is defined in the Public Schools Act. In this context, it relates specifically to direct or indirect pecuniary interests, that is, those things having to do with money or financial interests. Conflict of interest provisions prevent a trustee from participating in the discussion or vote on a specific matter in which they have an interest, but they do not prevent a trustee from serving on the board. Code of conduct provisions are broader than those for conflict of interest, and they are established by each school board. The Public Schools Act requires that each school board adopt a code of conduct and sets out the minimum requirements for any such code. Codes of conduct outlined expectations for trustee behavior at the board table and in interactions with other trustees and staff. A code of conduct may specify that certain staff policies, such as those relating to harassment and a respectful workplace, also apply to trustees. The The Code of Conduct sets out the process whereby the board may sanction an individual trustee who violates the code. Those sanctions range from a censure to a suspension of up to 3 months. Breach of confidentiality is considered to be an especially serious violation of the Code of Conduct. It can lead to a trustee being removed from office. Once you decide to run for office, you need to obtain the proper nomination papers. Contact the school division office to find out where to do that. Papers may be available at the division office, online, at the municipal office, or somewhere else. When it comes to the actual conduct of the election in your division, the local school division office is always your best source of information. Obtain the necessary signatures on your papers, 25 individuals or 1% of the electors for the ward, whichever is fewer. When collecting signatures and submitting your papers, keep a few things in mind. Make sure that everyone who signs your papers is a qualified elector in the ward in which you are running. That is, that their name appears on the voters list for the ward. Election officials can provide you with a copy of that list to help you check. Collect a few extra signatures, just in case someone you thought was qualified is not. And don't wait until the last minute to submit your papers. That way, if it turns out you are short a few signatures, you'll have time to collect them before the nomination deadline. Nomination papers can be filed from Wednesday, September 12th to Tuesday, September 18th, during regular business hours and at the designated location. And don't assume that someone else can drop off your papers. The legislation allows local election officials to determine whether or not the nominee has to personally file the papers. There is no legislatively defined campaign period for candidates running for school trustee. Campaign contributions and expenses are not legislatively regulated, and candidates are not required to file an audited financial statement. Contributions made to a candidate are not tax deductible for the contributor, and funds expended on the election of a candidate are not tax deductible. The conduct of the campaign is at the discretion of the individual candidate. Traditional campaign tools such as pamphlets, lawn signs, and door knocking have been joined with social media tools such as Twitter, Facebook, and blogs. These are all ways candidates can share their vision for public education and learn about community views about local schools. In some divisions, parent councils or other organizations may hold all-candidate forums, which will also give you a chance to have your voice heard. One special note about campaign signage. Most municipalities have bylaws that govern when and where campaign signs can be posted and the content of those signs. There are also restrictions about posting signs in the vicinity of polling places on election day, so make sure you know the rules before you print or post. Your school division office is the best source of information about local election procedures. If you have questions about obtaining or filing nomination papers, voters lists, polling places, or anything specific to the election in your division, contact the division office first. If you have general questions about the conduct of school board elections, the work of school boards, or the role of school trustees, visit the website of the Manitoba School Boards Association. The online publication, School Boards and Trusteeship in Manitoba, provides a good overview of the place of school boards in Manitoba's education system, while the School Board Member Handbook provides a more in-depth look at the work of school boards. You can find both of these under the Publications heading of the Resources tab. This website also lists contact information for all Manitoba school divisions, including links to divisional websites. If you still have questions, feel free to contact Heather Demetrioff by email at hdemetrioff, that's HDEMETRIOFF, @mbschoolboards.ca. Thank you for your interest in school board service.